Welcome, everyone, to an all-new show. This is Coach Ben's Case by Case. What we are going to do is very simple. I'm going to go over a certain situation or case that I found or was submitted to me and simply provide my reaction and recommendations. Today's case is the misery of living single. That single life that many people choose to live in denial and say that they're so happy being single. Oh boy, we'll get into it. Living all alone. Living with no one to love by your side. It's what I call the ultimate form of misery that one can possibly experience in life. So without further delay, let's just jump right into our first case ever, shall we? Alright, let's see what we have here. Alright.
I am in my 40s and have never dated or had a significant other. When I was younger, I didn't mind, or at least didn't notice. But as time has passed, I have grown more and more isolated. As your friends pair off and start having families, you get left behind. Opportunities for social interaction become fewer and farther between, and you end up avoiding the few things that do come your way because you don't want to be the only single person there.
All right. Well, goodness gracious, good grief. I mean, a man in his 40s, never dated or had a significant other. I mean, how sad is that? You know, this shouldn't even happen. I mean, at least going out with somebody. What happened to your 20s? What happened to your 30s? I can't imagine going that long without even trying. What do you mean you've never dated? This is horrendous. This is why I chose this case. This is a horrible case. And we have to go through these extremes just to point out certain crucial points in life. You snooze, you lose. I mean, we're talking decades, people. Decades without love, without even trying. That's what fear will do to you if you let it happen. The days will become months, the months will become years, and the years will become decades. Could end up your whole life. That movie, 40-Year-Old Virgin, is not a joke. It literally happens to people that I coach. Very rarely do I run into this case, but I mean, I've had a couple near their 40s, late 30s. So let's go ahead and proceed with this one, right? When I was younger, I didn't mind, or at least didn't notice. Of course you didn't notice. I mean, you probably focused on school, on your job. That's not what life is about, people. Yes, you do have to make money in order to survive and try to have the best job possible. You know, like what I've accomplished. I'm so happy with my life right now. I mean, this is my dream job. But for you guys out there who are still single and you're approaching your 30s or 40s, no, please. Please, it stops now. All right? You got to start sometime. You can't be living in denial saying that you're so happy watching the time roll by you. The time is now. Just like trying to get in shape, the time is now. But as time has passed, I've grown more and more isolated. You'd think? It doesn't get any more isolated than that. I mean, meanwhile, the extremist feminists are living at home with their cats and convincing themselves that they're so happy. Well, their cats are all going to die and then they have to replace their cats. Now what? It's perpetual misery. You can't deny it. As your friends pair off, yeah, just like Bambi. You know, Thumper goes off. And then the skunk goes off. They all find somebody except for Bambi, the last one. Don't be the last one. It's not a rush either to find someone. It's just saying, hey, wake up. Your life is right in front of you. Each day you wake up and every night you go to sleep, it's another opportunity. But if you let everything else in life get in front of that priority that should be a priority in your life, then you're doomed. There's no one else responsible except for yourself. You can say, all the women are toxic. No, those are toxic females who don't deserve to be called women. That's not an excuse. There is somebody out there, and they're so anxious to meet you, and you have no idea. And you've convinced yourself that, I'm just going to give up. You know, 40-year-old virgin. I mean, if you're not a virgin, you don't have to be a virgin in your 40s. You could just be miserable because you haven't found that special someone. You're just having sex just to have sex. Perpetual relationships going nowhere. Dead ends left and right. That's no way to live. And start having families, you get left behind. Of course you get left behind. You have to get Twitter padded, right? As Bambi said. You got to find your significant other, your soulmate, your future soulmate. You're not going to know if they're your soulmate right away, but as I've said in over 150 shows already, I mean, you have to get it by now. It starts with friendship, so start befriending them, right? Find out who could be that special someone, and don't waste your time with those who want to friend zone you. Okay, so let's see. Opportunities for social interaction become fewer and farther between. Yeah, because you're allowing them to. And you end up avoiding the few things that do come your way because you don't want to be the only single person there. Yeah, that's your fear. You start to become, this social anxiety starts to set in, that fear. Oh, am I the only one? You're not alone, trust me. There are tons of men, unfortunately, who are suffering needlessly. And they try to convince themselves so bad that there's nothing wrong. That's just what life is. Life sucks. There's nobody out there for me. Oh my goodness, you are so wrong if you think like that. You can blame everything and everyone under the sun every single day of your life. But the only one who's wrong is you if you're thinking that way. I'm here to encourage you that yes, there are women out there who are suffering trying to find someone like you. Yes, someone like you. I don't care what you think your weaknesses and strengths are. There's someone out there for you. So let's go ahead and proceed with this case, shall we?
For a long time, people ask if you're seeing anyone, etc. But eventually those questions become less frequent and then stop altogether as it becomes clear that the answer is always going to be no. You have less and less in common with your friends as family and kids become the most important forces in their lives. Before long, you realize it's been months since you've spoken, and the last time you were together, you had nothing to talk about.
Okay, so let's see what we have here. For a long time, people ask if you're seeing anyone, etc. Yeah, because people care about you, right? I would hope so. I would hope your friends and family members and just simple acquaintances. Eventually, people are going to ask you, hey, what's up? How come you're still alone? And, other people might be alone too. You guys should ask each other, hey, what's up? What's up with that, right? Why are you failing in the love department, in the realm of love? That's not healthy. You can't be living alone all your life. You can't just Netflix yourself to sleep and eat all alone. What are you going to celebrate? All alone? And friends and family are not replacements for love. I'm going to have to say that 100 times. All right, let's go ahead and proceed. But eventually those questions become less frequent and then stop altogether as it becomes clear that the answer is always going to... Exactly. People are going to get tired of asking you because they're like, oh, there's that, they're not going to call you a loser. And hopefully they don't think of you as a loser. But guess what? A lot of people put on their little happy face and they're lying straight to your face. They think you're a loser because you have nobody by your side. However, that's not the reason to go out and find somebody in a haste, in a rush, just to shut these people up. No. If anybody dare calls you a loser or treats you like a loser, insinuating that you are, then they're not your friends. It's just that simple. You need to find new friends if that's the case, because it's not funny. It's not funny being alone, living a single life. It's not funny being lonely and miserable. It's not. I don't care if it's your family members, tell them to stop, or estrange them altogether, because they're probably the cause of your misery. People telling you, giving you negative advice, saying, yeah, all the women suck. You need to stay far away from those people, because those are the losers. People with that negative talk, they're infecting your mind, they're infecting your heart, your spirit. So there's no more encouragement. That's how you're living all alone in your 40s, 30s, or 20s, or whatever it is. I mean, you became a man a long time ago at 18 years old. You should be a man at 18 years old. Maybe push it to 20. It doesn't mean go rush and find somebody once again. It just means you better put love as a priority just as much as you need a job to survive and become independent. You have less and less in common with your friends and family, and kids become the most important forces in their lives. Of course, they're out there having families and kids. You don't have to have kids. You don't have to get married. But what I'm saying is, yes, you don't have to get married. You have to find that special someone who's going to take it to the next level and beyond for the rest of your lives. Because love, it doesn't depend on that ring around your finger or having kids. No, it depends on trust and fidelity. How deep is your love for each other? Because you don't have to get married, believe it or not, unless you're legally obligated to for some mysterious reason. But other than that, that one and only that's going to be by your side forever, it should never be dependent on this or that. It's just your guys' vows to each other, and it either works or it doesn't. But oh my goodness, you better try and don't stop trying. If your relationship fails, guess what? Yes, you need to move on to the next one. But you need to learn from your mistakes in that failed relationship so that you do better next time. Just like anything else in life. Before long, you realize it's been months or years, right, since you've spoken, and the last time you were together, you had nothing to talk about. Right, exactly. The same as the previous slide, right? Okay, let's go ahead and proceed, shall we?
When something good happens, there is no one to share it with. When something bad happens, there is no one to comfort you. Seemingly innocuous interactions become embarrassing reminders that you are alone. I recently had my pupils dilated and was forced to explain that no, I didn't have anyone to drive me home, and no, there was no one I could call. You don't cook because cooking for one is depressing, but you don't eat out either because you feel like a sad loser sitting in a restaurant alone.
All right, yeah, so this is a really horrendous situation. When something good happens, there's no one to share it with. Yeah, no celebrations. Nobody to smile with. I mean, how miserable is that, right? When something bad happens, there's no one to comfort you. And you know how much we need comfort as human beings? We are highly social creatures, more social than animals, I would dare say. Yeah, the birds, they flock around in their formations and they say chirp, 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 cheep, cheep, cheep. We don't know what they're saying, but it sounds like more of the same. But when we talk, we're very highly intellectual creatures. We have deep thoughts, deep emotions. I would say far deeper than any animal. So guess who needs the most attention in this world of all the species? You guessed right. I mean, if sea otters can find their mate and hold hands, floating on the river or lakes, and they're doing better than somebody living all alone, single and miserable. A sea otter. How sad is that? You can do better, right? And don't say that all the toxic, everybody's toxic, it's all a trap. If people approach life that way, everybody would fall for traps and just say, nah, I give up, it's too hard. Why do you think there's an obesity crisis? Because people give up on themselves. They give up on themselves. And there are job opportunities out there. You just have to hunt them down. Yes, it's becoming more and more difficult. I get it. Same thing with finding a potential future soulmate. I understand that. But never be the one to give up on yourself, because that's the only person that counts. I can give you all the advice in the world, but as soon as you choose to give up on yourself and live in denial, saying no to everything that I have to say, that's your fault. I can't do that for you. You are pulling the plug on yourself. All right. So yeah, nobody to comfort you, nobody to celebrate with you. That's just so murderously torturous. Seemingly innocuous interactions become embarrassing reminders that you are all alone. Absolutely. And those reminders are painful. I've heard the cries from very strong men. Very strong. Physically fit, mentally tough. But when their relationship fails, they are weeping like kids, like children. Because love means everything to a real man. Just like a real woman. It's not a joke. I recently had my pupils dilated and was forced to explain that, no, I didn't have anyone to drive me home. How horrible is that? Nobody to care for you. It's not because you can't drive yourself home. Well, in this case, yes, you might take a taxi, but how sweet is it to have somebody by your side and say, I'll be right there, sweetie. I got your back. I'll be there in 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, or an hour, whatever it takes. I got your back. And then when it's their turn to get their pupils dilated or whatnot, whatever it is, you have their back. It's teamwork. That's your one and only battle buddy in this whole life. And she has your back the way you have hers. That's love. And without that, you're all alone. And it's a scary world out there. And it has nothing to do with machismo saying, well, I'm good. I can live life alone. I can take on this challenge. I can take on everything alone. The only one that you're proving foolish is yourself, because that's not what life is about. Now, if you're forced into that situation where you have to be alone for a long time, yes, you better put on that soldier's helmet and get at it. But you better have love in your pocket, ready to find somebody to potentially love, right? There was no one I could call. You don't cook because cooking for one is depressing. It is depressing. Cooking for one is, why even bother, right? But no, you got to eat to survive, and you better eat some healthy food, so yes. But you don't eat out either because you feel like a sad loser sitting in a restaurant alone. Absolutely. I know that feeling. When I was forced into long distance situations with my soulmate, it felt horrible. I told her, well, because she's like, hey, go to this restaurant. I'm like, no, I'm not going to go there alone. There's nobody. No, I'll stay at home. I'll cook something for myself. I'll grab something special from the grocery store and prepare it myself, right? I mean, there's just no reason. How can somebody feel happy going to a restaurant sitting there all alone? It doesn't even look right. We are not meant to live solitary lives all alone and miserable. Somebody's miserable when they're all alone, right? At a bar especially. You can just drink your sorrows away. Sorry, but those sorrows are going to be right back there as soon as you sober up. It's going to be right there waiting for you. All your problems that you think you're drinking away, all the supposed pain, is going to come right back again. So you can forget about using, substance abuse as a crutch. It's not going to happen. So let's go ahead and move on, shall we?
Holidays are the worst. One time an acquaintance's little girl asked me what I got for Christmas, and I had no answer for her. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that you don't exchange gifts when there is no one to exchange gifts with? You end up fabricating parties and events so you don't feel so pathetic when people ask about your holiday plans.
Oh boy, that miserable life. That state of misery. When the holidays hit, so forget about Valentine's Day because you're all alone, right? Oh, now's the time to go look for chicks. That's the wrong attitude. What do you mean go look for chicks? Maybe get to know somebody as a friend, and then become special friends, and then maybe take it to the next level. Because if you're out there looking like, let me just go dating for chicks, it's all going to come crashing down. Maybe you might find somebody special, but I'll tell you what, that's how relationships eventually fail, by playing the dating game. I do not promote the dating game. It's because you're trying to fast forward becoming friends. You're skipping the whole stage of becoming friends. And it's so important to get to know each other first. So you can't rush and say, oh, well, the holidays are here. Now's the time to find... No, the time to find somebody was in between holidays. But if it just so happens to be in a holiday, go find just a friend to hang out with, right? To get to know some stranger you just met, whatever the case is, whatever the situation may be. Just put on your thinking hat. Make sure she's not toxic or crazy. Just get to know her and make sure she's also single, right? And that she agrees to the terms without signing any contracts. That, hey, yeah, I'm looking for somebody who might become special one day. Let's get to know each other. It's not dating. It's just having fun with somebody, right? So befriend them. Anyways, let's go ahead and proceed with this, shall we? So Christmas, a little girl asked, right? And I had no answer for her. What I got for Christmas. What did you give to others for Christmas? Isn't that horrible? And I've seen this before. People, just all alone. And I say, hey, come celebrate with us, right? Come celebrate with us. And they're like, nah, that's okay. They're so ashamed of being all alone. And it just saddens me to see them like that. But yeah, Christmas is a good time to, extend your hand and say, hey, man, you want to come party with us? It's not that they're losers. It's just that they're allowing themselves or, to be all alone. Or maybe they went over a failed relationship and they're, it's okay, recover, right? Take a year off, from seeing anybody, if that's the case. But it's going to hurt. Holidays are going to hurt. That's all I'm telling you. So the sooner you get out of that, that low, the better. The sooner the better. That little rut that you're in. And it's going to hurt, but yeah, there's better days ahead. How do you explain to a 7-year-old or anybody, You don't exchange gifts when there's no one to exchange gifts with. Okay, fabricating parties and events. No, you don't have to lie. You don't have to lie to avoid feeling pathetic when people ask you about your holiday plans. Don't lie to people. Okay? Don't lie. Just tell the truth. Or, you know what? If you have to fabricate something, make sure it's like a white lie. Just kind of be passive about the situation. You don't have to go in full details with people. You don't have to. Just tell them, well, I'm just going through something right now, but I'm fine. I'm okay. You don't have to worry about me, right? All right, let's go ahead and proceed.
Many people are solitary by choice and lead happy, fulfilling lives. For others, it is a bleak and lonely existence, devoid of love or human contact. A torment to be endured until the sweet release of death finally sets you free. It all depends on the individual circumstances.
All right, so this is the deepest part of it all, of this case. We got to really go over these words here. These are really harsh words here. Many people are solitary by choice and lead happy, fulfilling lives. Nope, wrong. Big X. Just big X. Incorrect. For others, it is a bleak and lonely existence devoid of love or human contact. No, it's for both of those. A solitary life is bleak. It's lonely. It's devoid of love or human contact. Just because you have sex with somebody else in a meaningless dead-end, titanium wall, dead-end relationship, it doesn't mean anything. You're still going to be solitary in the end anyways. It's not a serious, committed relationship. It could become one. Who knows? Hopefully. If you guys mature and start stepping up, to the real, devoted existing. Right? The life where you exist for each other. Existence, right? But if you guys are just playing games, then you guys are going to break each other's hearts. It's going to happen every single time. Doesn't matter how fit you are, how much money someone has, how much fame. None of that matters in a relationship that is going nowhere. Friends with benefits is the worst because you know that you guys are just using each other for basic satisfaction. And that's going to get very boring very soon. Some people last for years because they're miserable. They don't like each other. They pretend that they like each other. But they get tired of each other. It's going to happen. Love is way more. Sex is super important, don't get me wrong. But it's way more than that, okay? That's just for starters. A torment to be endured until the sweet release of death finally sets you free. Oh my goodness. And you wonder why people end their lives out there. Look at their thoughts. Look how toxic they are. Talking about ending their own life and saying set you free. No, that's not freedom. That's death. That's the end. That's the ultimate quittery. Like you just quit. You quit life itself. I don't, you know what? I pity somebody who thinks like this. That death will set them free. I pity you. I don't even feel sad for you. I just feel like, just get out of my sight. Because you are the ones who are spreading that toxic, form of thinking, that negative mindset to others and encouraging them to one day potentially end their lives. And this happens every day, unfortunately. And then this last sentence right here, it all depends on the individual circumstances. No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter how bad of a situation you're in. You should never think about ending your own life because of what? A failed relationship? Or because you're failing to find someone? It doesn't matter if you're in your 40s like this person, but this person is in one of the worst cases ever because he's 40 years old. 40 years old and still hasn't found anybody and just given up on dating for whatever reason. I'm thinking it's fear. Now, this is an extreme case, but it's an important case because many of our youth these days are giving up already. They're not even in their 20s. They're late teenagers. 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 17, getting ready to be 18, not even looking forward to the future of becoming a man. Nothing. They already given up. It's like, how can you be serious? And they're very dead serious. Like they're already determined to be losers forever. And when I say losers, because they've given up on themselves. That's what makes you a loser. Not anybody else calling you one or saying that you're this and that. No, when you give up on yourself, that makes you a loser. When you stop trying, now you're a failure. It's okay to shift gears in life to say maybe this job career is not working. I'm going to shift to another one. That's good. It doesn't mean that you failed. It means that you're shifting gears. If a relationship doesn't work, guess what? You have to move on to another one. You have to bite the bullet. There's no way around it. It either works or it doesn't work, because last thing you want is to be in a state of constant misery every single day with somebody by your side that you don't truly love, and they don't truly love you either. Talk about torture. Talk about constant state of misery. That's horrendous. So I ask you, I'm not going to beg you. I just ask you, please, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s even, it's never too late. It's not too late. I'm telling you this because that's the truth. There's somebody out there, either younger, older, or the same age as you, or around the same age. It doesn't matter, because that's just a number for the most part. And they're just trying to find you in this sea of chaos that we live in. Internationally, by the way, because your perfect potential soulmate could be all the way in Asia, in China for all I know, and you're all the way in another continent, and you don't even know it, and they don't even know it. That's how messed up the world is, but you have to make it happen, right? And they have to make it happen. So, if by your own fate, let's say maybe that's your destiny even, that you guys meet somebody who's maybe kind of sort of like that, and you guys can make it work, because like I said in my latest interview, my latest podcast, I mentioned that a soulmate in the very beginning is someone who's going to go the distance above and beyond. That's a soulmate. And can you go the distance above and beyond? Now, if you go above and beyond and it still doesn't work, yes, it's probably her fault. She's probably the toxic one. She's probably to blame for everything. That's very common. And vice versa. There's a lot of real women out there, beautiful, strong women. Not just outside, but inside too. Or maybe not so much outside, but inside. I say everybody's a perfect 10 because it's all, it's all subject to your own judgment. But, there's women out there suffering with toxic males who don't deserve to be called men. And guess what? So the toxic ones, they create victims, and then the victims want to play the victim for the rest of their lives and blame each other in what I call the gender war to no end. That's the problem, right? So as far as this case is concerned, let me just say that men, no matter how old you are, you need someone by your side. It can't be just anyone, though. It has to be the most perfect partner you could ever dream of. And that's why I spent over 1,000 hours creating my own book, an ebook format, and 1-hour video course to help you eventually succeed. But if you don't follow my advice, please at least follow your own positive thoughts and emotions and do it your own way. Like when they say men going their own way. Don't follow those toxic ones, and really do it your own way, if that's the case. But at least try, because in this case right here, it's a fail, a clear fail. Because he's in his 40s and is clearly giving up with thoughts about ending his own life. And that's why I feel nothing but pity for that person in this case. So that'll about do it for the first episode of Coach Ben's Case by Case. So we're going to have another case soon, hopefully, depending on the success of this first episode. And much love to everybody. Enjoy your weekend.